Greetings everybody. It's been a long time since my last video. I'm trying to get into the pattern of actually doing this stuff. I'm very new to this. But I had been doing some thinking in the meantime. Um, Before I wanted to stab the engine in, you can see that it needs to be painted. And I figured I'm kind of cheap. Actually, I'm really cheap when it comes to this stuff. So I don't want to actually take the car to a paint place. I'd rather try it myself. So I'm going to remove this wheel liner today and prep it, and I'm going to give painting it a shot. I had been reading about doing a roll-on type of paint, so I bought a can of Rust-Oleum oil-based gloss. You can see right here that I've kind of experimented with removing the rust off of that wheel liner. I'm not going to take that one out today because it's got a lot more stuff attached to it. This one only has one line attached right there, and just the heat shielding and a few plastic pieces that are probably going to break on me no matter what. So I'll have to find replacements for those, but no big deal. And I'm going to prep that today. I'm going to remove all the rust with a wire wheel, wire cup, and if I've got everything, because right now it's under quarantine and I can't really go to Home Depot for a lot of supplies, I might even throw on one coat of paint. So we're going to try removing this. I'll see how I can film it. I don't have a tripod or anything for my camera, but we'll see what happens. Alright. Okay, so I jacked up the car. I used the K-member to jack it up, and then I've placed jack stands. Always place jack stands when you are jacking up a car, and you're going to be working under it. So put it right here where the body attaches to the K-member, right there at the body mounts. Put one on each side. These are 4-ton capacity jacks. You know, you don't need 4-ton when you don't have the engine in, but hey, this is what I got. So then we're gonna take the wheel out, and then we're gonna take all these bolts and attaching fasteners out, and we'll pull out the wheel liner and see what we got. Okay, we're going to take off the wheel, and then we're going to go in and remove all these fasteners and take out the wheel liner. Before I do though, I'm going to channel Norm Abram and say that you absolutely must be wearing safety glasses whenever you use an impact gun or any other sort of power tool. Otherwise something could break off and shoot straight in your eye and blind you, and that would not be a very good day. Okay. These lug nuts are 3/4 inch, and this is a 78, so we don't have to worry about reverse threads or left-hand threads or anything, especially since this is the right side of the car. Chrysler did have left-hand threads on the left side of the car in the 60s and early 70s on some vehicles, and if you were trying to remove them the conventional way, you ended up removing the stud by breaking it off. A lot of grease on these lug nuts, so they're getting stuck in the socket. So we just thread it back on, pull it off, and then remove it by hand. There's still one in there. There we go. Okay. Set the lug nut aside, pull the wheel off. You can see that car's been sitting for quite a long time from all the cobwebs. So we're gonna fix that though. Brush it all off and eventually get this thing back on the road. Okay, now that we've got the wheel off, we're going to go in and take off this fastener, this fastener, this fastener, a whole bunch of fasteners. It looks like they're all 7/16 and ½ inch. That's 7/16, 7/16, 7/16. Okay, and maybe some 5/16, or yeah, 5/16. I'll have to go grab some smaller sockets. We're going to be breaking them loose by hand with this ratchet, and then I don't have my cordless impact, that's at work, so we're going to just be using a regular power drill and impact sockets, just, you know, for shits and giggles, and the adapter. Actually, turns out that it's 3/8 of an inch. hiding. If I could get that. Just barely. I think that's all of them down here. There we go. Have to go up top. Okay, now we're going to pry the wheel well loose. I'm going to use my favorite tool of all time, this panel popper by Lyle. I use this thing for everything. So the wheel liner seems loose already, but it's kind of stuck in a few places, so we're going to just pry it loose. See what happens. So it's actually butting up against the bumper support there. Right here. And up top, there's not enough room for it to slide out this way. So I might have to loosen the bumper or manhandle the thing out of there. Alright, so after looking at it some more and trying to manhandle it out, I realized that it was just the wheel liner was just bumping up against the ground. So I jacked the car up an extra 2 notches on the jack stand, able to get it out a lot more. Let's see if we can get it out all the way. guess. Okay, turns out I did have a tripod and I've mounted it above my workbench. So we're gonna put this wheel liner right up here, start taking it apart, maybe cleaning off the dirt and everything, and then after all the loose stuff is done, I'm gonna take it out back and wash her off with a hose, let it dry, sort of, and then we'll get started on actually stripping off all the rust. So let's go get that thing. So first we're going to take off the heat shield and all these plastic bits. Hopefully they don't break, but they probably will. Okay, so how is this attached? Put the gloves on. Oh, this doesn't look too bad. Looks like these things just kind of pinch together. Let me go get some pliers. Alright. Okay, it's not bad. They just pop right out. Sweet. These are way better than the plastic ones on today's cars. These don't really break, or at least I haven't broken one yet. Cool. See those? Focus. Made from metal. Even though they're rusty, they still work great. The ones on today's cars are made from plastic, and let me tell you, every time you try to get one out, it either bends or breaks. So, for all you mechanics out there, keep a stash of ones that don't break. But if you're a mechanic, you already know that. Alright, now we'll take off the plastic bits. That one's already broken, don't care about that one. This one, this is where wiring harness or hoses or whatever go underneath that just keeps them in place. We're going to try to get that one out without breaking it. Underneath, we'll take a peek at it. I don't know how well you can see it, but these are what's known as Christmas tree fasteners. It's just a stick with little prongs that stick out of it. It looks like a Christmas tree if you look at it kind of at the side. So these usually come out pretty well, but you have to be careful because they do break at the base. So use light pressure, just kind of wiggle it back and forth and make sure that, and if you can, try to push it out from the back. That way you'll be able to save it. So that's what we're going to try here. Oh yeah, I got one. Come on. Come on. Oh, that one doesn't want to come up. Oh, I was wrong. These aren't Christmas tree fasteners. These are push pin fasteners or spread fasteners. So if you can, use pliers and just squeeze them together and you can pop them out. So, okay, try for this one. I think you can still get these at places like Ace Hardware or high-line supply or any other kind of industrial supply, but since this is OEM, man, we gotta have it numbers matching. So we're just try to pop that out. Get the pliers. Cool. Got it. Okay, one more here. This one, that one's wasted, so don't worry about that one. And hey, worst comes to worst, zip ties. Alright. Anything else? Nope, doesn't look like it. So we'll brush off the dust and rinse her off, and then we'll get going with the wire cup and a power drill. Out the hose. Okay, got it rinsed off, blown off a little bit. I'm gonna just strap it on this cart that I got for free from a scrap bin, and we'll be using a wire cup and a power drill to remove all the rust from at least the top side. The wheel side has been coated with like anti-corrosion stuff from the factory, and I don't really want to screw with that, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Maybe I'll give it a coat of paint, and that'll be it. So now I got to find the tools. The music you're hearing is my neighbor across the street. He's actually kind of cool, but very strange. This is going to be loud, so I recommend ear protection. I don't have any here. It's all at work. Oh well, we'll go deaf. I don't know if you can see, I've got some schmutz on me because that's been flying off. That's why we wear the safety glasses. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I can actually hear. I'm done scraping off all the paint and stuff on the top side of the wheel liner. I experimented on the back side, and it looks like I could actually take all of it off. Um, where'd it go? Where'd it go? It's around here somewhere. I think it's right here. But no, right here it is. I actually went in and tried it, and it will take off this stuff. I don't know if I want to. I probably should. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, which will work against me later on, I bet. But you can see how well it came out. And in fact, if I was going to do a rat rod conversion or restoration of this thing, this would probably be perfect as is. Just slap it back in there and let the elements take care of it. But I don't want to do that to this car. I think it should be classy, so we're gonna paint it and make it look nice. So I just decided to go in and knock off all the high spots on this coating and polish up the areas that weren't covered by the coating. So that made it kind of clean. Got a lot of the road grime and crap out of there too. So, and once I am painting, I'll just put a single coat on the backside, and maybe two coats for here, and get it so that it's not going to rust up when it's finally back in the car. But it kind of cleaned up pretty well. So here is the clean 100, well, pretty much 100%, almost stripped wheel liner from the Cordoba. I have cleaned it using simple green and then just rinsed it off with water. I tried drying it with a terry cloth towel, but that left too much lint. So instead, I used a microfiber cloth, got out all the lint off of it, and now I'm just letting it sit here in the sun to fully dry. And then we're gonna go back into the garage, mix up some paint, and test this thing out. Okay, we're in the garage now. I'm going to mix up some paint. First, I'm going to show you what I got. I got the Rust-Oleum oil-based protective enamel. This is glossy black, which I want to paint the whole car a nice glossy black, but we're testing it out on the wheel liner first. I have a mixing container. I got this at Home Depot. I got everything at Home Depot. These are really inexpensive, maybe $2 or $3. This is less than $2, I don't know. I'm in California, so my prices are probably higher than a lot of the rest of the country. That's just how it is. I have some acetone and I have some paint thinner. I have heard differing or read differing instructions. The back of the can says to mix it with acetone. What I've read online and seen in YouTube videos is I should mix it with mineral spirits. However, I'm in California, and my area of California, it is now illegal for me to buy mineral spirits. So I'm using paint thinner, or I bought paint thinner, which I've read is kind of the same as mineral spirits, not quite, but very similar. So I'm deciding which one to use. Maybe I'll mix up 2 batches of each, or 1 batch of each, because I have another container and I could just label it, one's acetone, one's paint thinner, and then see how each one goes, because I have 2 wheel liners. I could paint one with acetone and then the other with paint thinner and see which one's better. I think that's how it's going to go. First, I'm going to try the paint thinner first, because, you know, I've read bad things or not as good things about acetone. Acetone apparently makes this stuff dry much faster. So I want a little bit of playtime with the paint, so I'm going to try the paint thinner first. The ratio that I've read is roughly 50-50, but really it's more of a guessing game, or a kind of a mixing art. I've read that the consistency of the paint should be kind of like skim milk or thin like 2% milk, where you dip the mixer in the paint and then you let it dribble off. It takes about 4 seconds to turn into drops instead of a nice stream. So I'm gonna start with maybe a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 mixture and just kind of play around in there and see how it goes. Okay, let's get started. Go get a screwdriver to open this up. I have mixed it a little bit already, but once I open it, I'm going to use a mixing stick. Oh yeah, these mixing sticks, they come in a gigantic pack at Home Depot. $1 for 30 for the quart size, and then the bigger style, it's $1 for 10. These used to be free. Oh well. This is my first time using oil-based, so we're going to see how that goes. Now, on the side of these mixing containers, they have ratios. There's 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, etc. So I'm going to start off with the, I think I'll start off with the 3-to-1 and see how that goes. We're going to do paint thinner. Wow, that thinned it out really quick. That might be too thin. I don't know, but we'll find out. Just keep stirring and stirring and stirring and stirring. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7 seconds, so maybe it needs to be a bit thinner. Still a little bit too long. Let's just try a little bit more. Always sneak up on the consistency that you want. You don't want to overshoot. Now I have to admit, I'm not a painter. I don't really like painting, but I do like trying out new things. So we'll give this a try. A little more. There. So this is actually probably ending up close to a 50-50 mix, maybe 60-40. That seems about right. Probably can't see the drips from your vantage point, but it's taking about 4 seconds before it turns into actual droplets and just drips right off of it. Okay, so just keep stirring. So this mixture, probably 60-40, maybe 50-50, not sure. This is what we'll use. I'm gonna pour it into the paint gear that I got. I picked up this basic tray. It's a 4-inch roller, foam roller. That's what I've been told and read online that I should use. It comes with its own little roller handle. This was $9 at my Home Depot. Comes with a tray, so we'll try that. I've read that you have to do like between 5 and 8 coats, light coats, in order to get a good finish. So this will be an experiment. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm here. I'm gonna put the first coat on. Got the paint in there. Get that nice and saturated, and then squeeze out the excess. All right, here. Let's see, find one with a good light. All right, here we go. Oh wow. Okay, that goes on pretty good. Definitely, like, I can definitely tell that it's gonna take a lot of coats. Just roll it on, man. Don't slide it on. I also bought some foam paintbrushes for getting into the nooks and crannies. So we're just gonna keep painting, cover it every bit of it, and then let it dry. So you can use one of these foam brushes, or you can use a different size. I think I'll just use this one for now. as interesting as Bob Ross yet. I'm working on the hair. Alright. So, we've got pretty good coverage. Got it all covered in one coat of paint. We'll let it dry for a little while. I've heard that you have to let it dry for like 8 hours or something like that. So we're just gonna let it sit out here and get nice and hardened, and then we'll come back and put another coat on, and then I think you have to sand it with like 600 grit or something like that. That's what I've been reading. So I'm gonna have to double check, and then we'll keep on going. All right. Here we go. I have no idea what's going on in the background for the sirens, but that happens a lot around my neighborhood. Just do it real nice and light, not a lot of downward pressure. Down and check my results. See a lot of the paint that I've rubbed off. And you can kind of see the difference in the finish now that I've sanded. I think, yeah, some of that's just water, but most of it is actually paint that's been rubbed down. And of course, we'll do a final rinse off before we actually paint, so that we're not just painting paint dust. So now I gotta get down here and the other side over there. You could also get a sanding block. It's kind of like a sponge with sandpaper built into it, but this works pretty good for what I need for. I have to be careful right here because of this big hump. I've already burned through the paint in a couple places, just very small, but since it's very tiny, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm just going to do another coat of paint on there, and take care of it at the very end. Plus, since this is a part that you're not really going to see unless you pop the hood and really pay attention to it, this is more of a practice for when I actually do the whole car. a look at what we missed, what we didn't miss. Lots of paint. High spot here. Kind of a run. Okay. A bunch of runs right there. Burn through just a little, so let's stop. Okay, that was pretty good. Do a final rinse and then paint it again. Okay, we're back in the backyard. I'm going to take my microfiber cloth and just run it over the top, collecting all the lint from the terry cloth. This thing doesn't slide down on me. Where are you going? Don't go anywhere. Stop it. I'll figure that out. Just wipe her down. Get all that lint. Now, figure out how to hold that there. Okay, that seems to be good. Okay, now. There's not a lot left in this container, the mix that I made last week, but I think there's enough for one more coat at minimum, maybe two if I do 2 light coats. So we're going to use this and see how it goes. Since this is oil-based paint, it's going to be very sticky. Still sticky in there. I saved my roller and I saved my foam brush. Who knows if they're actually still good. They feel kind of good in there, but who knows. I've never worked with oil-based paint before until now. Yeah, look okay. Okay. Got my roller. So there's a little bit of dried paint on there, but let's see what happens. Paint is still liquid. Give it a stir. I don't know if you can see there over to the right. There's my cat that adopted me. I named him Bulkhead because he likes to bonk everybody with the head. And I kept with the automotive kind of deal. Bulkhead, firewall. All that in. Let's see what happens. It's not going on as well as it did before. I think the roller needs to be changed. If so, I'll go grab another roller from garage. Let's see here. I don't really care for that. So let's go fetch another roller. another roller, the last one I had, and another foam brush for getting in the detail work. Later on I'll have to go to Home Depot and get some more rollers for the other one. There we go, that's going on better. Okay, I'm back. I put on a fifth and final coat. I had to touch up a few areas just now, mostly along here. Didn't get complete full coverage yesterday when I put the final coat on, but most of this is dry. But I'm gonna let the touch-up dry for a couple hours, and then I went and bought some clear coat at AutoZone. Rust-Oleum crystal clear enamel clear coat. So after a couple hours I'm going to go and spray this on there, and then I will sand the clear coat and polish the clear coat with a buffing pad. Okay, here we are, and the paint's dried enough. I'm going to now spray it with the clear coat, and we'll let it sit and then do one more coat, and then we'll do wet sanding. Alright, here we go. Very light application. Give it a good shake every now and then too. Okay, that seemed like a pretty good first coat. I'll let that dry for about an hour and then come back out and do another one. Okay, this is the day after I put on 2 coats of clear coat. I just rinsed it off with the hose and dried it a little bit with the multi-fiber towel just to get most of the dust off. I'm going to wet sand it now with 1500. You can kind of see that it's really orange peely. It feels kind of rough. Ooh, put a little scratch in there. No, we'll sand that out. So we'll get that all sanded, and then we're gonna buff it. This is after wet sanding. I've rinsed off the right side here, and then left the other side so you can see what would happen as you're sanding. It leaves all this residue from the clear coat, and then over here it's a little bit better. It feels smoother. For instance, so now we're gonna take the buffer. I bought an electric buffer at Harbor Freight along with a buffing pad, and we will buff this. So here is the buffer that I bought at Harbor Freight. Back up so you can actually see. This is a Central Electric brand. This one cost about, list price was about $55, but always remember the 20% off coupon. It works on this one. The pad was sold separately. That was about $10. It comes with a backing pad, so don't worry about having to buy another one. This comes with it. And this one's really cool because you can actually set the speed digitally and it stays there. That's really nice. So I'm going to try this out. This is my first time ever trying one of these. I'm not really a detail kind of guy or car detailer. I'm more of a mechanic, not as much an artist like that. I don't have the patience for that kind of stuff. But we're going to give it a try on this thing. I'm going to try 1500 RPM first. Just keep it moving. I'm not using any sort of compound. Let's see how it works. So that last video got cut short a little bit, but I finished buffing it, or at least I got everything covered with the buffer. Rinsed it off and got off all the fluff, and then dried it off. I'm not entirely happy with it, but like I can see there's a lot of orange peel and such, but so I obviously need to practice some more. I need to read up exactly what I need to do, but this isn't a part that's going to be visible when it's on the car unless you pop the hood. So this was a good first attempt. I'm learning. Seems like I have to figure out how to not have that, because I wanted it a little bit, well, less wrinkly for one, but I don't know. It could be the material underneath, but I'm thinking it's my paint application. So we'll just give it another go. I'll read up how to do it again and practice some more, and we'll try it again on the other one.